Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are taking our very first steps into the world of Python programming. Seriously, if you've ever wanted to learn how to speak the language of computers, this is exactly where you start. So let's just dive right in.
It all comes down to this one simple question, right? How do you actually talk to a computer? It doesn't understand English or Spanish or any human language. It speaks in ones and zeros. So we need a translator. And for us, that translator is a programming language called Python. It lets us write instructions that we can read, and it translates them into something the machine can understand.
So here's our plan for today. We're going to start with the classic Hello World. It's like a rite of passage for every single programmer. Then we'll make things a little more interesting, make our program interactive. After that, we'll learn how to handle messy data, play around with some numbers, and then we'll wrap up by looking at everything you've just learned.
All right, it's time to write some code. Now, in the programming world, there's this tradition that your very first program, before you do anything else, should just say hello to the world. It's simple, it's classic, and it's the perfect way to start. And this is it. That's the entire program. One line. We're using a command here called print, and we're telling it to display the text, hello world. See those quotes? They're super important. They tell Python, hey, this is the exact text I want you to show on the screen.
And there you have it. When you run that code, this is what pops up. You gave the computer an instruction, and it did exactly what you asked. That's your first program, and honestly, that feeling of making the computer do something, it never gets old.
You know that print command we just used? That's called a function. And the easiest way to think about a function is that it's an action word. It's a verb. It tells the computer to do something. In our case, the action was print this text. We're going to be seeing a lot more of these action words. Okay, so talking at the computer is cool and all, but having a conversation is way better. So let's step it up a notch and see how we can get the computer to actually listen to us and respond. Let's make this thing interactive. Now, look at this line. We're actually introducing two huge new ideas here. First, we're using a new function called input. This basically pauses the program and waits for you, the user, to type something in. Second, whatever you type in, we're using that equals sign to store it. So where does that information go? Well, it goes into something called a variable. Just think of a variable as a little box or a container. We've created a container, we've put a label on it called name, and we're sticking the user's response inside that box so we can grab it and use it again later. And this is how we use what's in the box. This is a special type of print called an F string. See that little F at the beginning? That's a signal to Python. It says, hey, when you see these curly braces, don't just print them out. I want you to look inside the variable called name and put whatever you find right here. And here's how it all comes together. The program asks the question, the user, in this case Alex, types in their name, and boom, the program uses that stored information to say a personalized hello. We just had our first real conversation with the computer. How cool is that? Now, in a perfect world, everyone would type everything in neatly. But we don't live in a perfect world. People are messy. They add extra spaces. They forget to capitalize things. A good program knows how to expect this and clean up the data it gets. Yeah, so what about this? Look at all those empty spaces at the beginning and the end and the lowercase a. If our program just printed this back, our nice greeting would look pretty weird and sloppy. So, how do we fix that? Well, Python has some amazing built-in tools for this exact problem. Text, which programmers call strings, comes with its own set of special mini-functions called methods. And here, we're actually chaining two of them together. We take our name variable, we strip off the extra spaces, and then we take that cleaned up result and use .title to capitalize it. So let's just break that down real quick. The .strip method, it's like a little razor that just shaves off all the blank space from the beginning and end of the text. Then, after that's done, the .title method comes in and just capitalizes the first letter. So together, they turn that messy input into a perfectly clean name. We've had a lot of fun working with text, but Python is also an absolute beast when it comes to numbers. So let's switch gears and build a super simple calculator to see how Python handles math. Now, the logic here seems pretty simple, doesn't it? We ask for a number, let's call it x. We ask for another number, y. Then we just add them together and print the result. So if a user enters 1 and then 2, we should see 3 on the screen, right? Whoa, wait a minute. The computer says 12. That's not right. This is what we call a bug. It's a mistake in our program's logic. Now, the computer did exactly what we told it to, but not what we wanted it to do. So what on earth happened? Okay, here's the secret. That input function, it always gives you back text. To a computer, the text 1 is totally different from the number 1. And when you use the plus sign with text, it doesn't add, it just smushes them together. That's why 1 plus 2 became 12. To do actual math, we need to tell Python to treat them as numbers or what are called integers. And here is the fix. It's another function called int. All we do is wrap our input function inside of it. This basically tells Python, hey, go get the input from the user like always, but before you do anything else with it, please convert it into an integer. And with that tiny change, we get 3, the correct answer. Now the program knows we're doing math with numbers, not just sticking text together. Bug squashed. And believe it or not, in just these last few minutes, you've actually learned some of the most important fundamental concepts in all of programming. This really is where your journey begins. Let's just quickly run through the new tools in your toolkit. You know that functions like print and input are actions. You know that variables are containers to store information. You've learned how to use methods to clean up messy text. And crucially, you understand that data has different types, like text and numbers, and you know how to convert between them. This is the foundation for pretty much everything else. So I'll just leave you with this question. You can now have a basic conversation with your computer. You can ask for information, you can clean it up, you can do calculations with it. You have the basic tools to start building things. So the only real question is, what are you going to build next?